Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, what a day! And look, I can admit when I'm wrong. I said the other day, I said, don't you feel like we're setting up for like this epic rug pull here, the way this is playing out? And I was wrong. I thought the rug pull would happen as soon as they reported earnings, and then when they did the call, and then we'd open up red today, right? But instead, they decided to pump Nvidia through the moon, and then at 9:30 on the dot. Whew, down we go. And I mean, if you ain't seen this chart, I got to show you this chart. It's unbelievable. It really is. And look, I don't admire, I don't like con artists because obviously what they do is illegal. But if you ever run across a really good one before, you have to admire their work. It takes skill, right? You ever see a person who's like a professional pickpocket? Again, it's illegal. I don't root them on, but it's mesmerizing to watch them work, right? It really is. I mean, it takes skill, and that's what I feel like, the algos and the market makers did today. Is like, hey, man, you made yourself so much money, and after hours yesterday, pre-market this morning, and then when the bell opened, they shorted the brakes off of it. I mean, hey, that's the game, right? That's the game. And so we're gonna get into all of that with Nvidia, Tesla, AMD. Oh, AMD got crushed, just absolutely crushed. And so, I'll start with something funny because on days like today when they're red, I like to laugh, right? And I saw this right here and it said, Dad, if socialism doesn't work, why do people still support it? And it says, because those people don't work either, son. I mean, how can you not get a laugh when you see that, right? And so, going into something, again, we had jobless numbers out today, and some people say, well, that's what drove the market down. Give me a break. Jobless claims were up a tick or whatever, and so were continuous jobless claims. But I mean, you look at the overall chart there, not even close to getting what the Fed actually wants to see here. And so that definitely wasn't what drove the markets down. I know that's one of the narratives going around today. But again, if you got this thing where you're like, I just don't understand how we're possibly not in worse off shape than we are, and what's holding this up, it's what I told you. Look at these HELOC balances. Remember I told you the other day we're sitting on so much equity that you can take a HELOC out. Look where the balances are at compared to 08. I mean, compared to, it goes all the way back to 02, right? Look where we're at. It's like nothing. Look at the quarterly change. It actually came down. Like people aren't using it. They aren't dipping into their equity and using HELOCs and stuff, right? Or anything like that. Here's the other one. And where I got this is me. It says less than 3% mortgage rates, 26%. Let me know if you're in that camp as well. It feels good. Look at this though. 3 to 4% is 44%. So you're talking almost, 70% is sitting there at 4% or less in a mortgage. I mean, I remember 07 when I bought my first house, it was way higher than that. So yes, I mean, people are just sitting in a sweet spot. And of course, we're not buying houses nowhere near as much. So we're not having to make these big purchases. So money is just sitting in the bank, drawing 4 to 5%, right? And I want you to understand something. When people ask me this, as I hear this, they'll say, man, when you're talking about China, as bad off as it is, that's really bad, and the stock market should be down the toilet, and all the stock markets around the world because this should be down and stuff. Again, I show you that stuff because eventually that is going to matter, right? But the economy of any country is not their stock market. You're seeing this in Europe, right? You see it here in a way, but in a way, ours is much better off because of our real estate market, right? Because we're sitting on so much equity, cash is sitting in the bank, all that good stuff. Well, when you look at like their stock market is basically trading sideways, while the S&P Eurozone composite PMI is in contraction, the S&P Eurozone manufacturing PMI is in contraction, but it doesn't matter because they're all, like they say, the economy is not the stock market. Eventually, it will catch up if that continues that way, and you'll see their stock market come down. And guys, before we continue, if you get anything out of this, please hit that thumbs up down there. I really appreciate it. And if you like the material here and the videos, think about subscribing. And that leads me into the market. And I understand this was a total sector sell-off, right? Some were more red than others, obviously, but everything went red today at 9:30. And looking at the big picture here, you got the S&P setting up here. You see that middle trend line rejected perfectly off of that today. It is sitting there forming this head and shoulders. Does that always play out? Absolutely not. They fail all the time. But you can see that bottom target would obviously fill some gaps. Realistically, I can see this getting down if this plays out to that bottom trend line. And then, of course, we got the Qs here. Same thing is playing out. Got a head and shoulders here we talked about the other day. And so, again, it rejected as well. And, you look, it actually rejected off the 50, by the way, the 50 moving average, so the S&P, which aligned with that trend line. But we'll see if this plays out with this one. But also, you're looking at this MACD, which is what I was saying, it can continue to move up some maybe because the MACD is trying to form a bullish cross, sitting on the daily right there. And just we'll have to see if it's able to do that and pick up some steam, because usually you do get some kind of rally coming in September and then it sells back off, which will form the right shoulder. But again, Jackson Hole's tomorrow. You got Jerome Powell speaking and stuff, so we'll see how the market reacts. And oh boy, there's Nvidia. And it's really just setting this megaphone pattern right here, which I think will continue to play out, where it'll move up to whatever 500 something, whatever the top of that is, and then it'll move back down and move back up. Again, we still got all these gaps that need to be filled. One, obviously huge, and I actually got to get rid of that top gap now because it actually filled it today, and I was not expecting that when I actually started filming this. But again, and I'll tell you right now, I was telling the members, put in the comments, what do you think in the next 6 months, for example, would be the only thing that can cause Nvidia to fill that big gap below? Because we all know they fill. It's one way or the other, they're going to fill. It may be 3 months from now, a year from now, whatever it is, it will fill, especially a big one like that. But let me know in the comments what you think that is. And mine, of course, I'll go ahead and tell you, it is China invading Taiwan. It would, boom, it dropped so hard, it'd make your head spin, okay? That would be catastrophic for all stocks, but especially Nvidia because of Taiwan semiconductors. Now, this leads me to my favorite video, which always makes me laugh 2 years later. For those who have been around, you know this video I'm talking about, because when we get these kind of huge drops, I like to play this. And those who are new, you'll see it, and let's see if you get as big as laugh as I do, and it fits perfectly here. And sorry, I can't help it because that was literally a roller coaster day on that stock chart, you can see. Now, when you look at Nvidia, hey, again, I can't remember a stock doing this. I'm sure they were back in like the 90s .com bubble. We may have saw this stuff, but I wasn't in the market then. So when you see these blowout quarters, and my Lord, 13 billion, 16 billion. I mean, look at what was to the left there. I mean, that is truly an amazing thing to see. And when you look at the data center stuff, I mean, you want to talk about increase in revenues. I mean, look at the estimate. That is crazy for 2024. I mean, that's as much as they got in 2022 and 2023 combined, maybe even 2021. I mean, that's a crazy amount of money. And when you look, this is a channel I put in the Discord for the members and stuff about these company earnings. When you kind of look at this, have a picture of an income statement instead of having to read numbers. But when you look at this, I mean, yeah, I got to salute them for whatever they're doing and give credit where credit is due, because look, all this other revenue, it don't mean nothing. Gaming, 2.5 billion, not bad. But that data center revenue, 10.3 billion. I mean, the increase was enormous quarter over quarter. You can see 13.5 billion total. What's even more impressive, though, is the operating margin. 6.8 billion, like over 50%, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm reading that correctly. And then the net profit, 6.2 billion. That's why they said we'll just buy 25 billion back in stock, right? Which you would think also will be bullish for this stock. But I mean, so that's extremely impressive. The margins, especially, that's what I was really looking at. The fact they increased the margins that much. And this is why you see these price upgrades, right? I mean, Rosenblatt comes out with an $1,100 price target. HSBC 800, 750, 650, 650, 650. So, a huge upside. And, we don't know where the stock price is going to go from here, because it is expensive. A lot of people won't be able to buy into it or whatever, and it has ran a lot. But understand, this is what we're talking about with AI. And you're going to have some more earnings come out to talk about this. But they're the ones who have proven so far, like the only ones I can see where they are absolutely monetizing AI, right? Because people have to buy it from them in order for them to actually monetize as well. So let me know if there's another company you can think of as monetizing, and they're going to be monetizing in the way they're doing it right now with these crazy increases and stuff they're doing. But, others, they're talking it. They're like, oh, yeah, we got this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. But yeah, you have to monetize it. It's great to talk about it. Let me see the money, right? That's what you got to see. And understand what's going to be interesting to see what happens when all of a sudden competition comes along. Because these other companies are not happy having to buy these chips at these rates, right? They're not happy about it at all. And these other companies aren't dumb either. And so there's a lot of people behind the scenes working, trying to come up with their own chips. And so as competition starts to come out and all this good stuff, and we know China loves to steal patents and do all kinds of stuff over there. So, we'll have to see what happens as the competition, increases. Same way what happened to Tesla, right? They're dominating, and all of a sudden here comes all this competition. What happened to their margins? Shrank down, right? But it could take a while. That's the thing. You don't know how long it's going to take. And so, we'll have to see how the stock handles it. So just keep that in mind. Plus, most likely, if it keeps going up, I think they're just going to pull a Tesla. They're just going to do a stock split. And when you do a stock split like Tesla did, a lot of other investors will come in now and buy. I mean, they did, what, 2 stock splits, right? In like 2.5 years or something. And so just keep that in mind as well. Now, speaking of Tesla, and you can see right here, it's basically just consolidating right here in this little area right here. Red day, but again, it's because the whole market was red today, honestly. But when you look down at the bottom, the MACD is trying to form a bullish cross and stuff. But when I pull out on this one, really, the only thing that's going to matter to me is that trend line right there, right? I already got 3 touches on it. If it can break that, and you can see that volume node to the right, 248 to 252, wherever it hits it at, right? And that's going to be super, super bullish for this stock. And obviously, I love when gaps get filled, but I don't think it's going to go down and fill that gap before it moves. You never know. We could see, but that would be really nice and even more bullish as far as I'm concerned. And AMD got crushed, down almost 8% on the day. I mean, just that's a huge, huge red candle for the day. And you can see, again, it's setting back down right there. It broke to 101, I think was the low today. But if it breaks that, yeah, you're definitely going to be seeing 98, then 94, and then 88. So, those levels you just have to watch. And I'm not sure if it paid the price more because Nvidia showed how much more superior it was, or just because Nvidia sold down, so everybody sold AMD as well. And so we have to keep an eye on that one. And Amazon here is another interesting because it's basically been in this channel. It's sitting right on it, sitting right on the 50-day moving average. A good bounce would be between 130, 132, somewhere in there. And it needs to bounce because if it falls past that, you can see that chart right there that it can fall a long way down just because of how fast it actually moved up. And if you look at a weekly, you'll know what I'm talking about in multiple instances there. It didn't set a whole lot of support in those areas. Now, Disney, because somebody asked me about this, you can see just a terrible day, down almost 4% on the day. And this one can't buy a break for crying out loud. I'm personally just looking at that trend line ascending down there for it to break that before I even think about this one. But you can see right here, I mean, it's setting, they say 2014, but truth is, I mean, it's in that box where it's about to start hitting 2020 lows. And if that breaks, if it gets out of this box, yeah, this thing's going to be in a real hurt lock. So, and understand the day there's a whole boatload of puts. It doesn't trade a lot of options, but the day was like 195,000 contracts, most of them to the put side. All right, so I think 80 is probably where people are thinking this thing is going to really bounce and not go beneath. But if it does, just brace yourself. Because I live in Florida and they just got so many issues going on right now. People just aren't sold on Bob Iger and his plan to revive everything and stop the bleeding of the money and everything. So, that's where we're at on that one. Now, tomorrow you're going to have Michigan consumer sentiment. Shocker, I'm going to go ahead and break it to you. I bet your money is going to be down. It's because the market's down. But more importantly, you got Fed Chair Powell speaking at 10:05. So you can bet money there's going to be some shenanigans played in the market for sure, and pre-market, and then up to that meeting. And I almost bet, how it's going to work. As soon as he opens his mouth and says, hello, I can't predict which way it's going to go, up or down, but there's going to be some huge candles, all right, for sure, because people are going to be playing it. And so, let me know what you're going to be doing on that stuff. Let me know what you thought about Nvidia. Were you surprised? I mean, the fact that it came down and closed that gap today, I mean, that is, again, yeah, you got to take your hats off to the market makers, to the algos. I mean, hey, as much as I may not really, actually didn't bother me at selling down, but, some people I know got caught up in that, whatever. But, I mean, look, is Nvidia going anywhere? No, I mean, this is just red times right now. There's too much money tied up in it. And it's the only one, again, that's actually showing that they can monetize, right? This AI thing. And so, again, they'll push it back up. That megaphone pattern is going to keep playing out, I'm sure. And we're still in August. We're still in September, 2 of the worst months of the year. So, take that for what it's worth. I think people just want to hear from Jerome Powell. And you saw yields up today. So we'll see what he says and how yields want to go. Remember, if yields roll over, and especially if the dollar goes with it, that's going to be jet fuel for any high beta stuff. Okay, and if yields continue and with a breakout and the dollar breaks out too, especially both at the same time, that is not good. And so you just have to pay attention to that kind of stuff. Okay. So anyway, hope you got something out of it. Hit that like, subscribe button if you did. If you want to join the membership, get daily news briefings, private videos, all that good stuff, and join the Discord, hit the link down at the bottom. It's only $7.99. Still less than a McDonald's combo, even with inflation coming down, guys. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.